Hemp fiber pays about $800 an acre. Not 8,000, not 80,000, 800. If you've been reading hemp industry headlines, that number probably surprises you. $28 billion industry. Farmers switching overnight. A crop that saves the family farm. Here's the real number from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's own hemp survey. And here's why. Even at $800 an acre, hemp fiber might still be one of the more rational crops you can plant in 2026. Let's start with the actual data. The USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service publishes a hemp report every year. In 2024, fiber hemp grown in the open yielded on average 3,205 pounds per acre. That's down 848 pounds from the year before. The average price from the most recent year with full pricing data was 25 cents a pound. Do that math and you get right around $800 an acre. Gross, before seed, before fertilizer, before the diesel to harvest it. A University of Florida extension budget built from real grower data is even more specific. A dual-purpose acre, harvesting both the fiber and the seed, grosses about $1,100. The operating cost to grow that acre, $1,030. Net margin about $70 an acre. That is not a rich crop. Let's be honest about that before we go any further. And this isn't new. Go back to a 1998 USDA report on industrial hemp, and fiber returns were estimated at somewhere between $170 and $759 an acre, depending on price and yield. Fiber hemp has been a thin margin crop for 3 decades. Nobody's hiding that. It's just not what gets clicks. So why make a video about a crop that pays $70 an acre net? Because of what it's being compared to. Look at corn and soybeans in 2026 using this year's university crop budgets. Soybean futures have been trading around $10.50 to $11 a bushel. The break-even price, once you account for this year's input costs, is closer to $12.45. That's a $2 gap on every bushel on one of the 2 largest row crops in America. Corn's revenue looks better on paper, but input costs are running $800 an acre or more, and that's before weather risk. Government relief payments are now running over $100 an acre in some cases, specifically because row crop margins have compressed this hard. So here's the actual comparison. Not hemp fiber versus a fantasy number. Hemp fiber versus what corn and soy are actually paying right now in the same growing season. And on that comparison, a thin margin that's stable looks a lot better than a thin margin that's uncertain. Because hemp fiber has something corn and soy don't have this year, a demand story with a legal deadline attached to it. We covered this in an earlier video. Section 781, the law that reclassifies most cannabinoid hemp products, contains an explicit exemption for industrial hemp. Fiber, hurd, grain, stalk, and the building material made from that stalk, hempcrete, just landed in the 2024 building code. Put those 2 things together. A wall material that's newly legal to build with almost everywhere, and a fiber crop that's newly protected while 2/3 of the industry around it gets forced to pivot. Decortication, the machinery that separates fiber from hurd, has been the bottleneck in this industry for years, because there was never enough guaranteed demand to justify building more of it. That's the thing that's actually changing, not the price of the crop, the certainty of the buyer. $70 an acre with a buyer who has to exist by law is a different bet than $70 an acre hoping someone shows up. Now the caveats, because a per acre number on a screen is not a decision. These figures are national averages and a single state extension budget. Your actual cost structure depends on your soil, your equipment, your local processor access, and the thing that kills more hemp farmers than a bad yield, whether you have a signed contract before you plant a single seed. Hemp is not a commodity market like corn. There is no elevator down the road that takes hemp stalks on a random Tuesday. If you don't have a buyer lined up, the number on this screen is theoretical. Talk to your state's agricultural extension office. They publish real, regional crop budgets, and they're free. Hemp fiber will not make you rich. At $800 an acre gross, it's a modest crop by any measure. But modest and guaranteed is a real category. And in a year where soybeans are structurally underwater and corn's margin depends on weather nobody can predict, modest and guaranteed might be the more rational acre.